Hi, hi, Siddha.
Hello.
Hi. I've been listening to you here and there for a little bit. I like the title. Just want to come up to ask, if you can just give a brief introduction of yourself, and then especially the performance art. You're a performance artist in the bio. I just wondering what kind of art do you perform?
Well, I'm not here to give my bio. If you have a specific, and there's a million things written about me on Google and on the website and on my bio and on Twitter. You're welcome to look there, but I'm not here to give any introduction.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. Well, I'm feeling pretty lucky here just because I am exactly, the person you're describing in your bio of, not your bio, your title of this room. I did recently discover your work, and I also have been, seeking my various entrepreneurial things, and almost right as I discovered your work, I actually got received some backing by some prominent investors for my projects, and it was kind of a nice overlap. But I guess to get to my question is, I've been, I was wondering, I guess, how does, are there experiences that indicate you are getting closer to truth, as in what maybe a spiritualist would call like an astral projection or a lucid dream type of experience? Is getting into that kind of state?
Well, a spiritualist can never know truth. Spirituality has nothing to do with truth.
Well, right, but the experience of what may
No,
be a spiritual.
truth is not an experience.
Okay.
There's no such thing as looking for progress. If one is devoted to truth, then he is. If one is looking at it as a pleasure chase, then he begins to look for progress. There's nothing here to chase, because all chases go nowhere.
It is settling another, like settling in another type of chase.
Yes.
Interesting.
Hello, Kapil. Thank you so much for taking my question.
Yes.
So are truths personal, that is differing from person to person, or they are
Yes. Every
universal
situation has a
truths?
truth. There are universal truths, and then every situation has its own truth. And most human beings experience similar situations by different names. But it is not personal in the sense that it's opinion based or belief based. So
Mhm.
in that sense, it is not personal.
Good evening. Thank you for your time.
Yes.
I've been following your work for a number of years now and listened to as much audio as I've been able to get my hands on and appreciate it. So thank you. Um, I'm curious to hear your thoughts uh, as to whether or not someone can know truth and feel as though they've not succeeded, or whether or not to know truth is to understand that you're on the right path for yourself, regardless of how you may imagine success would look. Thank you.
Well, there is no right path. Um, there's no that doesn't exist. Truth is not intellectual, so it is not about knowing truth as information or as an accumulation. Truth is a devotion. And if that devotion is there, it's there, and if it's not, it's not. But it is not yet another intellectual ploy to add to a human being's multi-million sets of ploys that he already has.
How can you know or feel that you are experiencing truth? It's something I
It isn't about the experience. If you are devoted to it, there's a knowing which happens inside.
Hi, Dr. Gupta.
Hello?
I know that to the only way to truly live is to live without self. But for a person that is like just starting to explore his mind and a lot of the teachings, where would be the best way to start beginning to lose myself?
Well, the only beginning is not to have any such goals. The beginning is the exposure, and the end is the exposure. And throughout the exposure, for a given individual, something may happen or it may not. But there is no intentional doing of any kind.
Hi, Dr. Gupta. Thank you for
Hello?
having me. You talk a lot about DNA and how somebody is wired. Um, and there's no perfect answer, but do you think if somebody tries, they could change some of that wiring as well?
Well, if someone changes the wiring, then
Mhm.
that means that their DNA was to change in the first place. So you have the DNA to change. I'm not saying that you do, but a given person. So if a given person has a
Mhm.
DNA for X and then they move towards Y, then that means that they had the DNA for Y all along. It just wasn't manifest at that time.
Makes sense.
Gupta, do people have free will?
It doesn't matter.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Yeah, thank you, sir. Sir, my question is like I have been searching for the self realization for many, many years, and I have always been searching it. I have always been conceptualizing it in the form of some kind of an experience. But a few months ago, I had this question like, if any kind of experience, even if the some people describe like time disappears, space disappears, but the thing is like, who is the experiencer, who is experiencing it? Because any kind of experience, then the question still remains like, who is experiencing that experience? And it seems
Well,
like an impossible question.
it's perhaps the quicker way to get to your answer is to understand that even if you have that experience, the experience goes away. So it's just
Yes.
another pleasure chase.
Yes.
And it could not have been any other way that you looked upon self-realization as conceptual. Because if that is the only thing that has ever been told to you, why would you look anywhere else? And that is the only thing that is told to all human beings through the realm of spirituality and self-help and self-development and gurus and media and books and stories and whatever it may be. It is all conceptual. It is all prescriptive. It is all based upon penance and doings and activities and austerities. So when that has been drummed into you from every direction, it would be unreasonable to expect that a human being would look anywhere else but precisely in the areas that have been drummed into him.
Mhm.
Dr. Gupta, am I audible?
Yes.
Hi. So a few days ago, I read something somewhere where it said that life is just chaotic meandering, and it's a pointless existence. I kind of found that striking, although I'm not sure if it explains what life is. Like, is there a purpose to life, or is it just
Well,
what
I
what I
think that
read?
if you bring something that you read somewhere else, I cannot comment about that. I have no idea what that individual was talking about and what his context was. So
It was a totally different context, but I just, those lines just appealed to me because I thought that kind of fit what they kind of fit in with what I thought life could be, right? As opposed to, like, is there a method to the madness, or is it like this individual is saying, it's totally pointless?
I have no I don't want to comment about the individual. That's what I'm saying. I don't have anything to say about what the individual said. If you want to ask me a question, you can ask me, but don't bring something else in here and ask me to comment about that thing.
Okay, so the question then is, what is the point of life?
Life has no point. Life has no purpose.
Got it. That's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Hi,
Hello.
what we are doing here?
Hello.
Hello.
I know you are a practicing physician, and I'm not sure what field you specialized in, so I was just curious what your thoughts are on um, people who have disassociated and, sometimes go through derealization, depersonalization. I know it hasn't been studied much, but I'm just curious what your thoughts are and if, that has
I
any
don't have any
impact.
comments about clinical psychology or anything like that.
Okay.
Hi, Kapil. Am I audible?
Yes,
Thanks for the work that you're doing. My question is why I'm getting constantly feeling that the time is running out. Why it is?
I don't know why you feel that way.
Hi, Kapil. Thank you for the opportunity. Wanted to ask you, in your experience, what separates top performers from good performers? Uh, given similar levels of talent, is it desire? Is it effort?
Well, it's a very big question, but I would say perhaps the one of the most foundational things that anyone has when they become super elite in anything is obsession.
Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Um, I have read a few of your books. To be honest, they were a little, I guess, strong for me or too much for me, so I got about halfway through them. But thank you for everything you've been doing. I've been following your Twitter as well for a while. I guess just a passing I thought I had is that if I can ask a question, does that also mean that I should be able to find the answer as well?
I don't know how you receive it and what happens within you is on your end. I have no idea.
Right, because yeah, because I am starting to believe that if I can ask the question, I mean, I've done half the work, right? It's like, um, and I just need to go get it afterwards.
Okay.
Hi, Kapil. Quick question on what we discussed earlier as well. So you mentioned that yes, life is pointless, and there's no point to life. The guidance I'm seeking is, if if that's the case, and that is, um, how do I drum up required motivation to do anything?
There's no how to. If you think life is pointless and you understand that it has no purpose and then you have no motivation for anything, then that's the way it is.
Hello.
Yes.
At what point of your life did you get the realization of truth, like as you perceive it now?
It doesn't really matter. How does that affect your life if I tell you I got it
No,
in
just to learn your
1973?
experience.
No, that's just a curiosity question. It's not worth
Yes.
talking about.
Hi, so I wanted to ask like so many people talk about enlightenment, but what exactly is enlightenment?
Yeah, that's a good question. Enlightenment's a big word, and different people define it in different ways. And the problem with these spiritual concepts is that, well, not that they don't exist, but they become dressed up as concepts and things to chase. And I think that's perhaps the greatest detriment of all, is that everything in spirituality and everything in self help and everything in a human being's life is essentially a chase. And the trouble with chases is not that they're wrong. The trouble with chases is that they don't go anywhere. They just make the person chase their own tail, and you just go in circles forever and ever.
Hi, Kapil.
Hello.
I'm just wanting to know what is the truth behind addiction and the grips that it has on those who suffer by the holds of it.
It's too big of a question. It has multiple parts to it. Um, it would not be wise to encapsulate it into one thing, because to do so would be to trivialize it, and therefore it would have no relevance.
Does truth emerge from like not seeking or doing anything, or is it from trying every prescription?
Prescriptions just lead to more prescriptions. Prescriptions can never lead to truth. Truth does not have any, there's no ulterior motive. There can be no austerity or cleverness. Truth does not respond to that.
Good evening. I'm wondering why, when I ask you about things in your profile, you say they're irrelevant.
Hi, Kapil.
So
Good evening. Yes, sir. I wanted to ask, should happiness be viewed as a desired state, or as a as a journey that one would keep, trying to get to? I'm really trying to seek clarity on that.
happiness is a myth. It doesn't exist. It will destroy your life to chase it.
My question is the definition of a bodhisattva just another
It
concept?
doesn't matter. Those things have no meaning.
Hello, Dr. Gupta. How are you?
Dr. Gupta, after having realized what is devotion the way to master the mind? Is it the way to um, surpass the mind?
Well, devotion is, I don't know if you can call it a way, but if you must, devotion is the only way to everything.
Hello.
Hello?
So why I'm scared? Like everything I do, I think I lose it. I'm not able to do it. Why I'm scared?
You'll have to look at the answer for yourself as to why you feel a certain way. I can't answer that for you.
Yeah. What's up, dude? Hang on a second. What kind of room did I just enter? Because I only see two people on stage, a fuck ton of listeners. Am I?
Good morning, Kapil.
Hello.
Uh, I want to ask that if it's the truth, why it's not obvious?
How can it be obvious if your entire mind is clouded by conditioning?
Hello.
Yes.
When when one gets closer to the truth, do they often feel somatic sensations?
You're too interested in science. Are you a psychologist?
Nursing student.
Okay. You need to cleanse yourself of all of that stuff, and that's fine for your work. But when you come into this domain and you bring all that sciencey stuff here, it doesn't work. If you have a real question, you can ask it, but don't use words like somatic. If you have a real, genuine question as a human being, not as a nursing student, filled with all of the content of nursing and medicine, but become human. If you have a human question, you may ask it.
I do. I am trying to separate from, all this sciencey stuff. So I guess my actual question is, I feel like I could be, on the right path towards truth, and sometimes I just, can separate my mind.
Why do you feel like you're on the right path?
I just like I don't going through my day-to-day life, I guess I just don't really care about anything that's going on because there are just too many ties to it and too many emotions, so I think it's just easier to not care.
But then
And
you are not caring as in a reactive way in order to protect yourself from pain.
sometimes I think that could be true, but then also I just really feel like I don't care.
Okay.
Like I just
So
don't
the
give two
path to
fucks.
the truth is the devotion to truth.
Mm-hmm.
And if you find yourself devoted,
Mm-hmm.
if you find it, not because you should, if you find yourself devoted to the truth as opposed to prescriptions and
Mm-hmm.
how-tos and methods and techniques and spirituality and self-help and self-development and experts and media and books and nonsense, if you find it easy to burn all your books and to throw away all the experts and to never turn on your television and to burn your radio,
Mm-hmm.
then chances are that you're perhaps on the path to truth.
But then if you lose all that, don't you lose yourself, and then you kind of can, kind of lose your body?
Well, if you turn
Because
off your radio, will your body go away?
maybe
So,
your
and
sense.
actually, what you call yourself
Mm-hmm.
is simply an imprisonment. It is an inculcation of dogmas from the societal world.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that you actually want to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Dr. Gupta.
Hello.
So, my question is: are we just the product of our body and experiences, or is there something more to it? Does our life just disappear the moment we die?
Well, what happens after you die doesn't really matter. Your main purpose, not even your purpose, but your main business is living. And what you're essentially a product of in your adult state, what you're a product of, is society and the world, and all of the beliefs and opinions that have been packed into you.
Hi, Dr. Gupta. Thanks for doing this. The more I try to separate myself from my mind, the more negative
That's not going to
thoughts it
happen.
generates.
You cannot do things in an effort-filled way. You're only doing that for relief. It's not going to work. It's prescriptive. It's clever. It's not genuine and sincere.
Hello. If we remove all the books, all the information,
Well,
what is left?
I'm not asking you to remove all of that. If you
If
have to
one,
be told to remove it, no, you're not understanding. You're not understanding. If you removed it and any part of that removal was a force of any kind, was forced upon you, even by yourself, then it would harm you because you'd be constantly thinking about having thrown away valuable things that to you were valuable. So removal is easy. Anybody can burn their books. Just takes a match. But it's what happens before that. It is about what causes him to burn the books. That's where the money is.
Hi, Kapil. Question. So, as someone who's found direct truth, how does one prevent themselves from becoming an intermediary to others finding their truth? So what is that line, or what is the true role of a coach or guide?
What do you really want to ask?
What's it like for you?
What's the difference? I could say it's wonderful. I could say it's miserable. Who cares?
What is more meaningful, functionality or and what is more valuable, functionality or meaning?
I didn't hear you.
What is more valuable, or what is valuable actually, essentially, functionality or meaning in doing something?
Neither.
Hey Kapil, my question is why is death so painful, especially the loss of the dear ones?
Why would it not be?
How to deal with the point is how to deal with the pain. That's the point.
Yeah, there's no dealing with anything.
Okay, thank you.
Any time to relief that you try to get, you'll just go further into despair.
Hi, doctor. So my question is, how does one ask better questions, and how can one learn to become a better at asking questions and discovering meaning and knowledge?
Um, guess that would depend upon the degree of genuineness within them. It would depend upon their DNA, how devoted they are to truth, how smitten they are by society and socialization. Those would all be large factors in determining that question.
Kapil.
Yes.
I felt and I feel truth is liberating at all times if it is understood and felt deeply. So, becoming truth would really make easy to live in society as well. Am I saying it correctly?
No, that is correct.
Hello, Dr. Gupta. Pardon, I've asked a question before. I hit the hand by accident.
Go ahead.
Just wanted to respond. Oh, thank you.
Well, the reason that I'm allowing it because if one very infrequently asks questions, they can ask. I just didn't want the usual people again and again. I wanted to give other people a chance.
Um, I've been I had hit it by accident, and I
Oh, not a problem. You don't have a question.
Yeah, it's formulating. Thank you.
I wanted to ask, like, how do I unlearn things that I've learned so far, like, especially when it comes to spirituality? Like, I think all of my knowledge has either been like derived from the videos that I've watched or the books that I've read, or like it's always about other people's opinions. Like how do I unlearn those things?
Why do you need to unlearn it if you think it's invaluable?
But I feel like that's not myself, like those are not my opinions.
So why do you need to unlearn it?
That's true, but I it's confusing.
Why is it confusing?
I don't know.
You have just made a fact out of the statement that they're not your opinions, they're somebody else's opinions. You clearly don't like that, and yet you're asking how to get rid of it.
So I just let it be.
I don't understand what you're asking. If you
Well,
don't like something, why do you need help to get rid of something that you don't like?
that's true. Thank you
It
so
isn't that
much. I think
difficult.
that was.
Hello.
Yeah.
Uh, Thank you for choosing me. So my question is, do we really need a guru to
No,
achieve that consciousness?
no, no.
Hello.
Yeah.
I just want to know what is the purpose of life according to you? What's your perspective on it?
Life has no purpose.
What is your definition of sincerity?
It doesn't require a dictionary definition. I think you know what it means.
Yes, hi, thanks for doing this. Um, if life has no purpose, then why are you doing this?
Well, you begin with if, as if you're trying to believe me. I did not tell you to believe that. So when you begin with, well, if X and Y, I didn't tell you to believe X and Y.
Well, I'm trying to be empathetic in
Don't be
trying to
empathetic.
understand.
Discover for your own experiences. Don't listen to me and believe something and put it on the wall or put it in your head. If that isn't your experience, if that is not how you feel about it, it doesn't matter what I say.
Yeah, but it's oftentimes I find useful to see what's driving other people, and you must have some drive that's getting you to do this. And if life
It
has
doesn't.
no purpose,
It
why are you
doesn't.
doing this?
Yeah, you're not going to understand. You haven't understood a word that I said. You just keep saying the same things over and over again. All you were doing is intellectualizing things.
Hello, can you hear me?
You're breaking up.
Hello, Siddha. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Um, I've uh, I've had this feeling of the modern world is just an elaborate form of slavery, and that not even the obvious, jobs and careers and mortgages, but even the social and political identifiers and alumni groups and social groups are all fall into that bucket. Uh, am I misguided?
No, all of society is worthless.
Thank you.
Hi. I want to ask you if you could please flesh out your last statement. What is society?
What do you think society is? It's gotten to the point where human beings are so prescriptive that if I say car, I'll say, what is a car? Why do you ask basic questions? You know what society is. There's no elaborate definition in a science classroom. You're so used to all these definitions that you don't even know what the means anymore without a definition.
I've heard you.
Hello.
No,
I'm not familiar with your work, but I came across the clubhouse room and I was just listening. You said society was worthless. So, what is not worthless to you?
the truth.
And how do you distinguish what the truth is?
All that's in your head is untruth.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm also unfamiliar with your work. Could you say a little bit about what your work is and why people should
Okay, number one,
perspective? It
there's
seems like
there's
you're saying a
there's
lot of empty platitudes with an authoritative tone.
I will tell you that this is not a place for you. Um, you will get nothing from this, so you can go back to your
Okay,
little
great.
life
Thank
in the
you.
other rooms.
Hello.
Yes.
Um, you're kind of a dick, but I'm enjoying this, and I just have some questions that hopefully you're not going to be too mean and throw me down.
One born with truth? More specifically, can one lose truth later on?
Yeah, well, a child is born, he is truth. He's free. And as he grows up and goes through society and inculcates um, all of the information and cultural things from society, then he moves further and further away from truth.
Hey, good morning from India. Thanks for having me up. I have asked a question once before. Is it okay if I ask again?
Yeah.
Sure. So my question is, you have talked a lot about intellectualizing and trying to understand things intellectually, which is against some form of non-truth. So can feeling guide you better towards the truth?
Not in the way that you're asking it, no, because your feelings are created by your thoughts. So yes, in the other, feeling is closer than intellectualization, but um, it is not in the sense that you're asking about it. One must really get over the idea of intellectualization, and even then, once he does, he'll have different. Even his feelings will change.
Hello.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. My voice. I'm a bit sick, so my voice is. But do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I've been reading your work for a while. I'm not new to it, but I've never asked a question. So I've been I've been searching my whole life for this. I'm so sorry. I've been searching for my whole life for this thing that I wanted my life to devote to. And I've tried so many things, and it might be music, it might be poetry, it might be trading. And I'm doing so many things, and I still don't know what it is. And I feel like, and now that I'm so sick, I feel like I still don't know what how I still don't know the thing. And if it's okay, can you help me?
At the end of the day, every human being is searching for the same thing, and that same thing can be listed according to various different words and various different sentiments. Some call it happiness, and it certainly isn't happiness. It's something much deeper than that. Some may call it freedom, some may call it enlightenment, realization, peace, whatever it may be. But the thing that it is, it's never worldly. Humans pursue it through worldly means, but it isn't even about the craft. At the end of the day, it is the idea that what you're chasing is happiness, then that has destroyed your life, and that destroys everyone's life. There is
Mhm.
nothing in this world that can be that you can find quote happiness, because it doesn't exist. So the only thing that there is truth, and the truth begins with wherever you are right now, or however you're feeling right now. So all of these things that you're trying and they all fail, they're failing for everybody. It's not unique to you.
Mhm.
So every human being lives in desperation in their own ways. And therefore, at the end of the day, all there is a devotion to truth, a self honesty of where one is. And that is where one must begin.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
What's karma? Hi, thanks for taking my question. I looked at your website and I saw a bunch of video or audios, and it seems like they were quite expensive. I was wondering if there's a way to access these in another way, maybe for less money.
No. Do you have a question?
No, I don't know. It's my first time here. Why? I don't know why everyone's silent. I thought I.
Do you say that arriving at a state of truth, an act of randomness or entropy, and any attempt to approach truth would be prescribing a method or pathway to it? And why?
If you are approaching it prescriptively, yes. Otherwise, it is not random. Hello?
Do you identify with any religion was my question.
No.
Okay. Do you believe truth is subjective?
Everything has a truth. There are universal truths, and every situation that a human being finds him or herself in has a truth, and that has nothing to do with opinion or belief.
So do you think obtaining truth in this life is possible?
Yes.
And do you know when you've obtained truth?
Truth is the devotion to truth. It isn't a chase and an accumulation. It is a heartfelt devotion away from prescriptions, away from how-tos, away from methods, techniques, self-help, five-step plans, self-development, spirituality, the world, society, books, media, newspapers, magazines. It's away from everything.
So then would you consider truth to be a way of being?
It could be, but you have a very spiritual tone, and spirituality is a wall in front of truth.
What makes me come off as spiritual?
Okay, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. I don't have any interest in arguing with you. If you are not spiritual, then you're not.
Okay.
Hi, Kapil. I'm wondering what questions do you ask to gauge someone's sincerity?
I don't. You can usually tell.
Hi, Doctor.
Yes.
I've been listening to you in rooms for a while. I never asked a question and I didn't read your work or anything, but I do feel like I understand conceptually what you're saying all the time. Uh,
It's going to
I
be
guess
conceptual for a very long time. It's going to be intellectual. That is going to be your first introduction to it. That is the only way that your mind will be able to conceive it is through intellectual means. Truth is arrived at, or it's actually beginning to arrive at, when it is felt viscerally. And that is done through continual exposure over time. So it will always be conceptual, it will always be intellectual. What must be understood is that there is nothing to do. There are no prescriptions, there are no how to's, and any attempt to do something will cause you to fail.
Hi. What happens? What happens when you know the truth? Means when you realize what happens. How do you know that you have
Um,
known?
I'm not going to answer that question because then that would be a sort of a convincing and the idea of, well, if you find the truth and this good thing is going to happen and that good thing is going to happen. And I don't really have any interest in selling the idea. And it's all conceptual to you anyway. So what happens to you when you go to Geneva? And you could say, oh, well, you'll see this street and that street and that street. And to you, it's only a concept. You'll say, okay, you'll go home. So it's just intellectual. It's just chit chat. It won't go anywhere, whether you're devoted to the truth or you're not. And either way isn't good or bad. I want to keep the room open for individuals who have not asked questions before.
Hey, I was going to ask you if most professionals are aware that the solutions they prescribe cause more problems.
Zero. Zero are aware of that.
Thank you.
Doctor.
Yes.
I've been listening for a little bit and I haven't asked a question before. I'm struggling to understand from truth as a black and white. I often find myself looking at both sides and understanding that truth exists on both sides. And
Truth does not exist on both sides. Opinion and belief and intellectualization and analysis exist on both sides.
so I'm trying to understand, and really I am, the definition And okay, maybe that's I'm
Okay, well,
overthinking it,
imagine
but
this: that if you go to a
can you
door
provide an example?
and you have 50 keys in your hand in front of a door, one of those keys will work, and all the keys will look similar, but one of them will work, and the fact that that would work meant that was the truth.
There's so many
Every-
possibilities.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
If I'm devoted to truth to achieve greatness, but as a leader, if people who I depend on are not, should I try to control it?
Well, there's no if. The fact that you would be devoted to truth is almost impossible. But if you are, for you to find another person who's devoted to truth is impossible. So there is no if.
Thank you.
Hello. I wanted to ask, where does the devotion for truth come from in human beings?
I don't know. I don't know why it's there in some and it's not in another. Where it comes from, I don't know.
And
Yeah, hello. Thank you for having me. This is the first time I'm speaking anywhere on Clubhouse. So I have heard you say before that that hard work is, sorry, reaching peak performance and greatness is a murky, nonlinear process, and I was wondering if you could um, expand on
What don't you
how.
understand about that?
No, I understand that. I agree with that, and I think I have felt a little bit of a peak in my life few times. So I would like to ask what a person can do to maybe accelerate that. I'm not asking for a prescription. I agree prescriptions are wrong, and I see so many of them.
I don't know what you mean by accelerate. The truth is the
Uh,
way to accelerate anything. It is finding the truth.
okay, right. Thank
Those who have their hand raised have already asked a question.
Hi, doctor. I wanted to know that is there a truth for everybody, or only some people can stay on the path, to, as you say, can have the devotion to find the truth?
Well, no, I mean, the devotion to truth is available to every human being. But in the practical realm, devotion to truth is exceedingly rare. It's practically non-existent. So by virtue of a person being a human being, they are absolutely a candidate to be devoted to truth. But the trouble is that society assaults the human being. It's in such an irreversible manner that almost no one ever recovers from that assault.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Abdul Nasir. So I would go to my short question.
that how to come from anxiety on quickly basis. Thank you.
It's not an appropriate question. I'll give you 3 words to overcome your anxiety.
Hi, Dr. Gupta. How are you?
Hello? Good.
Thank you for your time. I have a really strange question for you. It's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, especially with respect to relationships. And um, I've heard you say this many times in a lot of different podcasts, and I agree with a lot of it because of my own experience that relationships cause more issues than they actually, resolve. And my question to you was, do constructs like marriage, I mean, I think of it as something that society has created. Do you think something like that is necessary to have children and to raise children?
Marriage, children, um, there is no problem with those things. The trouble occurs when a human being brings all of the beliefs and opinions that they have been stuffed with by society to those things, and that's inevitable. That's going to happen, and the the intersection of the beliefs and the opinions and the dogmas and the perspectives that one brings with them from society and from the world to the relationship destroys all relationships.
True. But then we can't say that on the flip side. I mean, if humans stopped reproducing, we wouldn't exist. So
Well, you don't exist now. I mean, look at your life. And you is not just you, you is every human being. Look at your life. Well, how do you exist? Your life is suffering. It is one problem after another. It is one
sure.
anxiety after another. Your life is nothing but an ocean of problems. What do you mean by exist? You only exist to get assaulted. So if there was if humans stopped reproducing and no more humans came into the world to create a society, that would actually save a lot of pain. Now, I'm not recommending that. No, I'm not recommending the opposite. I'm not recommending anything. I have no conclusion.
Right.
I'm not selling you any idea. I'm simply responding to what you say. So you don't really exist, at least not in the way that you'd like to. Your entire life is a revolt against your own existence. Nothing in life goes your way. You don't have it. And when you do have it, it goes away the next minute. You have infinitely more pain than you have happiness. You search for this and that. You chase pleasure all over the place. Your entire life is a chase. So you don't exist. So this idea that we must reproduce and make more and more is the same stupid idea about prolonging people's life and what the intellectuals chase about longevity and looking at genes that are make human beings live longer. It's idiotic. The life that you have is it's a destruction. It's a fire.
Sure, it is. As I feel like as long as you follow prescriptions, as long as you
Who doesn't?
follow.
Do you know anyone who doesn't do that?
No, I don't
It's very
actually.
easy. That's
Yeah,
right. So
I
it's very
don't.
easy to say that. So you're speaking very theoretically. So yes, if this and if that and if this and if that. Well, that if human being doesn't exist, therefore the if doesn't matter. It's about what is, not what if. And what is that everyone's life is in shambles. So getting together and making children isn't going to make your life less in shambles. And either, because both are clever pursuits in order to attain happiness.
Hello.
Yeah,
My question is, how do I create my own values?
values don't exist.
Why not?
You're not ready for the answer.
Is it better to work within a system that doesn't align with your values or to go outside that system?
Nothing is better. There is no choice. You must do what you feel the deepest about.
Hello, doctor. Is that uh, is knowing that life is infinity? Is that the ultimate truth?
Knowing that life is what?
Infinity. Like if you can ask, like for example, if you look at a stone and ask infinite questions and still not able to find an answer, is that the truth?
Your question makes no sense.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
You told to one of the speaker that we don't exist. So I want to ask you why we don't exist.
I spent a long time talking about that. Something got through or it didn't.
It is said that how you interact with people is you don't look up to them or look down upon them.
Well, I don't
Your
know.
views.
I don't know. It is said. I don't know who said that or didn't say that. If you have a question for me, you can ask it, but I don't want to comment about somebody else who it is said.
Um, well, that's, I guess, I'll rephrase the question. Uh, you should never look up to somebody or should not look down on anybody.
I
Does
don't.
that apply to everyone?
I don't believe in should. There is no should. There's no rules, no prescriptions.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, question for you. How can we move from this intellectual conversation in the minds of those on Clubhouse to one of truth, and what does that process look like?
There is no process.
Okay. Have you found benefits to a more truthful life over one of a different value set,
I don't care about
such as
benefits.
comfort or happiness? All right.
Comfort and happiness are not benefits. They're imprisonments.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. Does language, or I should say, the grip you have in any language, play a role in finding the truth or getting to the truth?
Ask what you want to ask. Don't dress it up.
Hello.
Yes.
Thank you for having me here. Is it possible for to ask a genuine question when I'm highly conditioned? And if I don't ask, will I ever arrive at the truth?
You can arrive at the truth. The truth doesn't come through answers, anyways. But every human being is conditioned. So yes, you can ask a question.
No, that's what I was thinking. I mean, if question that is more like a conditioned question. I mean, more like asking for
Well,
prescriptions.
it depends upon the sincerity of the
And
question. But yes, if you're asking about how to question, then you're correct. At this moment, everyone who has their hands raised has already asked.
Hello, Dr. Gupta.
Yes.
This may be a dumb question. Please forgive me for that. Is the truth absolute? I
Well,
mean,
there are
if
absolute
we,
truths, and there are hard truths that apply to each different situation. But yes, there are absolute truths.
Hi.
Hello.
Do you believe in the concept of the profoundness of experience?
I don't believe in anything.
Hi,
Hello.
am I audible? Hi.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, actually, what is this group for?
Hello, Siddha.
Yes.
Um, so I have pursued truth in my life, most of my adult life, young adult life, and adult life. Uh, it's something that has come innately to me, but it seems like my inner peace is there, so I feel like I can traverse through life easy, but it somehow has turned into where others around me are not as happy because I choose truth over complying to
Yeah,
societal
you
norms.
cannot address that. You cannot fix other people.
Well, it's not me fixing other people, it's
You can use
more,
whatever words you want. Anything that involves other people, you're not going to better that situation. If seeking truth causes problems, which it will with other
okay.
people, then it does. It doesn't mean that you should stop. It doesn't mean you should continue. That's up to you. But there's no how to.
Hi, Dr. Gupta. This is
Yes.
Anand here. I am a 30-year-old orphan kid, and I've been, always debating and figuring out the truth. And that led me to the Buddha's Four Noble Truths. But besides that, I've been following the Eight-Path Fold, and I'm still always curious, what about the truth? If I'm doing it right or wrong, meditating, the right view, all those things. So just wanted to know what can be the simplest thing I can do in life that can lead me to the truth.
Well, the truth is that you're not ready for this because you believe in all those things. And you can
Okay.
practice the Eightfold Path for the next 1,000 years and 14,000 lifetimes. And you can practice the Four Noble Truths for 1,000 years. And the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path are on every single bookshelf in the world, yet no one's enlightened. Those are all nonsense. They have no meaning. And Buddha didn't follow them either. So everything's trash. All your
But
books, all
but
those things. And the fact that you asked but shows that you're not ready for this. So there's no point in going on.
Hi, Kapil.
Hello.
If Buddha was enlightened, why would he prescribe? Would he have not understood the futility of prescriptions? Just
Yeah, it is.
curious.
I have read that he did. I don't know. I didn't know him. But I have read
Yeah,
that after he became enlightened, he did not want to reveal anything because he knew that nobody would understand. Now, if he did that or not, I don't know. But I have read that, and that would have been the wise thing to do because all that he wrote didn't do anything for anybody, and it never does.
thank you.
Hello. Uh,
Yes.
when one realizes how detriment it has, detriment it has been for their lives, and how much problems it has created for them. But
I
what
don't.
if
I
the
don't.
person?
I don't. I don't. You broke up. Um, you broke up. Just get to the question. Go
Oh, what I'm saying is, what if a person is self-sabotaging, and what if the person doesn't want themselves to succeed or get anywhere, and they are stuck in a weird conflict of desiring something and uh, don't want not wanting them to get achieve that desire
Yeah.
or fulfill that desire.
It is what it is. You're asking for a how-to. There's no way out of anything through how-tos.
In life, success is important.
I don't know. If it is for you, then it is.
Um,
Hi, excuse me for keeping my.
Why it is so hard to understand what you have to say?
I don't know. That's up to you. To ask my question.
Can truth be
Why are you doing this?
I don't know.
Hi, Dr. Gupta.
Yes.
If when I'm able to see there is no me, for a moment I can see it, but it
You're
keeps
chasing it.
coming
You're
back.
chasing it. It's not going to work. You need to forget about that. You're chasing these concepts. They're not going to work. There's a general devotion, genuine, lifelong devotion to truth, not chasing all these fancy experiences.
Hi, Dr. Gupta. So
Hello?
my question is, who are we? Where did we come from? And where will we go?
It doesn't matter. You're asking intellectual questions. They're not going to help you.
You said
Um, Thank you for doing this, Dr. Gupta. The deep conditioning of being a mother has left me feeling absolutely lost. I feel it's futile to go into these aspects of nurture and care because I've lost myself through it, and I'm filled with deep angst uh, because of that. It, it's taken me away from what I really want to do or the purposes in life. How do I work around this? Like, I'm not saying I'd leave everything, but how do I?
There's no working around anything. There's no how do I anything. You have expressed some deep sentiments, and they are true. At the end of the day, every parent is a prisoner, and that isn't a good thing or a bad thing. And he's a prisoner because, as you have just described, he is a prisoner to his own caring. Now, the moment you change that into, well, how do I get this, and how do I get that? How do I stop that? How do I X, Y, and Z? Now, the entire truth about your sentiment devolves, it degrades.
So I just keep on doing what I'm doing.
So you're still asking for how to.
Yeah, it's like,
You're exactly, and that you're not ready to hear any answers because the only thing that you're ready to hear is a how to, and that's because you've been conditioned that way, as every human being has. And if I tell them there's no how to, they'll say, well, do I just continue doing what I'm doing? And I'll say, well, there's no, you can if you want. They'll say, well, do I just keep continuing on? And well, I said, you can if you want. And they'll say, so I should just kind of accept it. Well, I said, you can if you want. And it'll never end until you see it, until you recognize the futility of prescriptions. You will be a prisoner to them.
got you. Thank you.
But your sentiments are genuine.
Thank you, Dr.
It's one of the
Gupta.
few times that someone has mentioned something genuine in these rooms, which I continue to not know why I do. Those who have asked a question tonight, if you keep your hand up, you'll be blocked.
Hi there.
Hello.
Um, I've heard you speak in the past about the importance of isolation. Um,
Well, be
my
careful about that, though. I mean, I would be, um, you're not doing this intentionally, but everyone sort of does this. They read something that I write or say, and they frame it into, I recommend it. And I'm not saying that you're saying that because there's only so many words in the English language, and the words do bump into each other. So you must use the word when you need to. Even I use the word how sometimes, but I know what I'm doing in my context. Um, so I don't recommend isolation. I don't think isolation is good. I
sure,
want that to
fair.
be clear. Yeah.
Okay, understood. Yeah. Um, I'm yeah. So I guess my question is, when when you are not alone or having your alone time, or one is not having their alone time,
Well, I don't know
and
what you
in
mean by alone time. That's pretty cosmetic. What do you
well,
mean by alone time?
I'm trying not to use the word isolation.
Well, same thing. You
Right.
already have you're let the cat out of the bag. So
Okay,
it's not about the alone time. Like that isn't it isn't about going in the corner and being alone and thinking about things or meditating or any of those things.
sure.
Those things have no meaning.
Okay. So okay. I guess the heart of my question is, when we are, or you are, or one is engaging in the world, are they by default furthering themselves from the truth, or is the
Yes,
truth they are? Okay.
yes, yes. But it doesn't mean that if you disengage from the world that you will automatically find truth because you could be doing so forcefully, and that will be worldly because it's prescriptive.
But I understand that. Um, so does that mean then you cannot carry truth within you at all times,
You
even when you are?
absolutely can. You absolutely can. But for a person who engages with the world, to find a human being, go outside, spend the next 20 years interviewing every human being, and find one for yourself that engages with the world, yet does not. The person who's engaging with society, the chances of them having truth and they're just doing so in some cosmetic way is zero.
Okay. Yeah.
But the answer to your question is yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Building on the previous question, why can't a person find truth if they're engaging in the world?
You can, but I don't. I'm not interested in convincing you. You can't start at level 0 and then there's a truth that's, let's say, 73, and you're starting at 0. For you to get to even 50, it's going to require 400,000 questions. You must have some level of a foundation to have that you have discovered on your own, that you have resonated with, that you have through your own life seen. Um, you can't be picked up in a stretcher and carried to 72. This is just one of many thousand questions you'll ask if you're at the level where you don't understand the detriment of society in the world.
Hello, Dr. Gupta.
Yes.
When I'm trying to genuinely understand the truth behind why an anxiety arises, I often feel like I'm going in circles, and I'm wondering,
Well, you
is
always
this
will.
is this because self-truth requires ongoing self-examination?
Well, no, because I see everyone uses all these words, and the truth is that that word may actually be true, but because there are societal human who's using it, they've already bastardized it. So the self-examination, now in a technical sense, that is true, but I know how everyone uses it. They use it in a prescriptive way. They use it in a spiritual way. They use it in a Silicon Valley way. They use it in an intellectual, good for you, 10 steps in the latest bestseller book way. And therefore, it's completely null and void. So I don't think anyone should self examine because I know where they're coming from. I know what I mean, and I know what you mean. So human beings are not genuine, not because they're bad, but because they have been made to be false and artificial, because society is a cesspool and it only creates artificial humans. So, yes, if one is genuine and honest and real and devoted, then yes, he is able to examine himself. If he is not, he is not. He will just watch his thoughts and do nonsensical spiritual new age crap of self examination, which won't get him anywhere.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So, I have really hard time understanding the intentions of the people. They are generally not genuine,
Intentions of what people?
like family members or friends
Okay.
when they present to you. It's not the real self. They're not genuine and not authentic. And when you find that out, it actually hurts and just very disappointing. The way you're thinking and when the way you're presenting to them is, even though it's in a genuine form, they're different. So is it just me, or is that how the world works? I don't know.
That's how the world is. The world, you see, human beings are not ready to hear that the world is one big flea market. No one's ready to hear that. And they shouldn't. No one should be ready to hear that. It isn't a good thing to hear it. There's no properness in hearing it. The truth simply is that the world is a flea market. The world is simply a cardboard cutout with neon lights. And every human being that you see walking around is not genuine. They're just a plastic creation of society. Now, they were born genuine.
Hmm.
When they came out of the womb, they were born genuine. But society is the greatest evil that has ever come upon human civilization. Whenever human beings get together, they create untruth. So all the humans that you see walking around, and in all honesty, perhaps even yourself, this isn't a derogatory thing to say. Not that I care if it's derogatory.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is that human beings do not seek truth. They seek prescriptions and methods, techniques, how-tos. They chase pleasure and they chase bars and they chase all these ingestible substances, and they're just empty, plastic, useless human beings. There's filler. There's no genuine human beings. And the ones who seek truth, which are extraordinarily rare, those human beings in this lifetime have an opportunity to discover something that is otherworldly, something that is truly native within them, something that is divine. And the rest just live a societal life and they die on Main Street.
So are they scared?
Hi, Kapil.
Hello.
For taking my question. I'm 38 years old, which to me seems, an age when it's appropriate to, whatever. I've been really truly seeking truth. I think it's been about 10 years, and
So
before
what do you mean by that?
I think I realized later that that's what I was doing because I kind of lost a lot of things in my life, and I wasn't able myself to understand why was I so okay to just let some things go even though they hurt me tremendously. And I'm at a point now that all that makes more sense to me now. But I guess from here on, I just feel like the more I understand myself, the more I understand the people around me, the less there is anyone left, anything kind of left. And I kind of want to know your insight on what's I don't want to say what's next because that's weird and also prescription, but is truth really, I guess I feel like there was no choice. There wasn't something I was choice because it wasn't even taught. I wasn't even that much aware of the fact that I was peeling off the bullshit of my life. So now I'm much better in understanding, and I can contain myself better in a lot of sense, and people around me even better. But at the same time, I just feel like I'm secluding myself a lot more as I go forward. Is there any truth to that, or is it a defense mechanism? That's where I'm having a little bit of difficulty.
Is there any truth to the fact that you're secluding yourself?
Kind of.
Is there any truth to what?
To the fact that I'm okay with that. Is
Well,
it?
I don't know if you're okay with that or not.
I feel like I am because before I wasn't. I could say I was in turmoil. I was
Okay,
doing.
so then you are. So what? What's the question?
What's the question is that I'm sensing that I will be even more alone as I go, and I will be even more okay with that. And I'm like,
So did you not just say that you found the emptiness in yourself and you found the emptiness in other human beings? Did you not
absolutely.
say? Okay, so I don't understand. You're sounding like the person from before who said it's everybody else's opinion. So how do I get rid of it? I mean, if you've seen the emptiness in yourself and other human beings, why do you care that you're becoming more isolated? Why would you want to be more social with other human beings if you've seen the emptiness?
I guess my problem is with my family mostly because I sense that I'm disappointing them a lot.
You probably are.
Yeah.
Every human being disappoints everybody. Um, it's see this the notion what must be understood is that every human being is afflicted, and what every human being is afflicted by is societal jargon. Everyone tries to get along and say the right thing and don't say this and don't say that and try to live up to this and this. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. The problem is that when you subscribe to the magazine belief that if I modify the way that I do X and Y, that'll lead to internal harmony. And it doesn't. And you don't have to take my word for it. I mean, use
I
your own
know. I feel
experiences. Okay, so it isn't about truth between people. It is only truth within a human being. The moment that a human being begins to try to create truth between him and somebody else, then everything falls apart.
But what if that somebody else is like my mother, and that's, I guess
Well,
that's the only
all the more
part.
reason. All the more reason. You know, it's. Listen, I'm going to end with this, and you may get it, you may not. You seem to have had some experiences that have taught you some wisdom. I'm going to end with this. It is all about you.
Where or how does one expose themselves to truth?
You can read the things that I've written and the podcast that I've done. They're truth, but you don't have to, and you don't have to read them. You don't have to listen to them. You don't have to imbibe them. I'm just answering your question in the most direct manner that I can.
Hi there.
Hello.
How are you? Thank you for doing this. I have a really serious question, and I have a lot of problems with people in general and them not understanding other people, and I don't care at the end of the day. A lot of people like to talk shit, and my question for you is, why is it that bitches ain't shit and they ain't saying nothing?
Okay, so first of all, there's no reason to use profanity.
My
Okay.
apologies. I'm a
Okay. Number two, um, all human beings are empty, and it is precisely because you seek to find wisdom in relationships, and that you seek to find genuineness and truth in other human beings, and you seek to find fairness. Um, that is your problem. Now, that isn't an assault against you.
Mm-hmm.
That simply is how everyone is, and it's natural and it's logical to do so. No one is born knowing that the world is garbage. No one is born knowing that. In fact, virtually every single human being leaves this world never even having an inkling of that. Every human being dies in mid struggle trying to function with other human beings. And it doesn't work. It will never work. It has never worked. And the reason it cannot work is because there is no truth between two people. There's
Thank
probably
you.
one person per 100 million who's even looking for the truth.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Hi, Kapil. Thank you for this. I want to know your thoughts. I've actually experienced that the internet, before I was trying to stay away from devices, but I've actually found the internet has actually allowed me to explore some of the things that I was in a way repressing. And I just want to, I've seen some of your tweets where you talked about device addiction, but at the same time, I really believe that repression is this, like, it's a way of regressing your progress, whatever progress, it's regressing from the truth. So I would just like to know your thoughts on that.
I don't know. It's too big. Just if you have a specific question, you can.
Just your thoughts on if there's any way that the devices or the internet could actually be beneficial.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, yeah, they have some utilitarian value, but at the end of the day, if that's the stance that you take, then it is. The devices are the new tobacco. They're the latest cancer, and they have changed human beings forever. Human beings will never be the same. They will be destroyed in manners that they can't even imagine. Hello.
Hi, Kapil.
Hello.
Yeah, Kapil, do you know in your personal experience someone who has found the truth in
No.
your life, this life? Okay, thanks.
Perhaps the more important question to ask is there anyone who's looking for the truth? Is there anyone who's devoted to the truth?
Hello.
Yes.
Listening to your podcast and reading your books kind of leads me to some, I don't know what it is, but complete silence. And does that mean something? Or just I need to leave it there?
It is what it is. Nothing to do about anything.